Today we're going to look at health anxiety and how you can stop its control over your life. COVID-19 for sure has put so many of us on hyper alert as to where the virus might be lurking, how we might get it without even knowing that we are receiving it, or we could be carrying it and giving it to others without knowing. But even before COVID-19 was on our radar, there were still germs everywhere, right? There were viruses all over the place. There were illnesses. There was cancer, diabetes, heart disease, all kinds of illnesses that were out there. When sometimes, even though they're always out there, there are those times when you might become hyper focused on it. So much so that you are very alert no matter what you do as to if I touch that, is that going to cause me to become ill? Did I wash my hands enough? Did I wipe the doorknobs enough? Did I wipe every surface in my house enough? Do I need to do it again? How about that symptom that I'm feeling in my body? When I coughed, and oh goodness, it wasn't just one cough, was it? It was more than one cough. And did that mean does that mean I'm ill? Does that mean I have the COVID-19 virus or something else? What about that pain that I keep having in my stomach? Does that mean that I have cancer? And all of these, you pull together all of these symptoms and form a picture as to what is most certainly wrong with you. And it can consume your life. It definitely consumes your mental energy, so that is all that you can think of. Well, today I want to give you some tips on how to take control of health anxiety and to be able to get your life back. Let me pause and welcome you. If you are new to A Renewed Life, or if you are returning, please let me know that you're here. Tell me a little bit about yourself. I am Tawnya Kordenbrock, and I'm the person behind arenewedlife.com. I'm a licensed professional clinical counselor and an online emotions coach, the creator of the powerful Mastering Emotions program, where I teach women how to rewire their brains so they can break free from fear, anger, and low self-image to be able to love themselves, feel loved by others, and have a deeper relationship with God. And I hope right now you will go ahead and subscribe so that you can receive more of these teachings. And also stay tuned till the end, because I do have a free resource that I've created for you that I want to tell you about. Now, as I said a moment ago, we all realize that germs are all around us, viruses are all around us. We are always open to the possibility of becoming ill in one way or another. Yet there are times when we become hyper-focused on becoming ill, hyper-focused on symptoms, and hyper-focused on news about illnesses, so that we can't hardly think about anything else. And so what that says then is there is something that is going on with you when you're in this hyper-focused place. There's something that's going on with you that has triggered it, because you're not always like this and you haven't always been like this. So something has happened to get this anxiety stirred up within you. And the first place we want to look is, when did it start? What was going on in your life the first time this happened? Now, a lot of times what that can be is a trauma occurred. Something occurred just kind of out of the blue. For instance, someone very important in your life became suddenly ill. Possibly they died very quickly, or maybe someone was in an accident, or just out of nowhere died, and you don't even know what it was. And it was a shock, very much a shock, understandably. But what can happen to you then when something sudden and dangerous like that occurs? It gives you the feeling that life is uncontrollable. And so there can be a part of you that gets set up to be alert to danger that might come. And it kind of gives you in some ways a sense of control, that you're not going to be caught off guard, because you are going to ensure that you see the signs that this thing is coming your way. Now, sometimes health anxiety can start when you are overwhelmed. So if you think back to, for instance, with COVID-19, we were, suddenly alerted that this thing was on the radar and that it was happening and how serious it was. There was also some ambiguity about, was it really serious? Either it was deadly or it was hardly anything. Either it was everywhere or we really didn't have to worry about it because it really wasn't here. And especially if you're in the United States, that message was kind of conveyed. But anyway, at the same time, then the quarantines began, the grocery shelves were empty, and no one knew how long this was going to last, what it was going to look like, how serious it was going to be, how deadly it was going to be. And we suddenly had to figure out, how were we going to do life? Just everyday life that we thought we had all figured out. Everything was routine. You wake up in the morning, you get up out of bed, you pretty much know what your day is going to look like. And then when COVID-19 hit, and the quarantines, then everyone was scrambling. I mean, you kind of just waking up in the morning hoped that it was all a nightmare, and you were going to discover as soon as you put your feet on the floor that, oh no, everything is back to normal and we're okay. So this was a definite overwhelm that would certainly trigger panic, and along with that could trigger health anxiety and panic about your health. Maybe even some OCD type tendencies could go along with that. Now, of course, there are other overwhelms that occur in our lives. So if the health anxiety that you've experienced started at some time prior to COVID-19, then think about what was going on in your life at that time when it started. Was there a lot going on? And you actually may not even be a good judge of that, because possibly you were so used to so much chaos that you didn't recognize when one more thing was just too much for you to handle. So you might want to maybe talk it out with someone and let them know, say, oh, what do you think about this? Does this sound kind of chaotic to you, that it may have caused me some overwhelm and have kicked in this health anxiety? Now, also, when you are considering where it started, think back to if you were possibly feeling out of control. And this is similar to what I was saying about a trauma occurring, but it doesn't, like someone suddenly becoming ill or dying. But this could be something completely different, where someone else was calling the shots. Someone else was making decisions, major decisions that greatly impacted your life or greatly impacted your family's life. For instance, if you are called into work one day and your boss lets you know, hey, our company is downsizing, yeah, this has been going on for this talk for months, for years, but we didn't ever tell any employees. And so today we are ending your position. Absolutely no control over that. And so that can create a panicky feeling, out of control feeling within you, but this can manifest as health anxiety. So that being hyper focused again on health issues gives you this sense of being in control with your own life and what happens to you. So now gaining an understanding of when this started within you and looking at what all was going on that possibly triggered it can help you to kind of just to have a little more sympathy for yourself and greater understanding of more of what's going on, so you don't feel like you're so crazy or weird, but you can see, oh, this was in response to these things that were happening, things that probably I had no control over, and so it would be understandable how this might get going within me. Now, the second thing that we want to look at, the second tip for how to take control over health anxiety, is to get a different outlook for it, to look at it in a different way. And here's what I mean. Let me give you an example with this of a woman that I used to work with who had some OCD tendencies, and this came into the health anxiety came in with that. And what she would do is she would repeatedly wash her hands, and she would repeatedly clean things, surfaces in her house and surfaces in her car that she was in her work, where she was going to, anything that she was going to be touching. And so one of the things that really helped her, and that oftentimes help people who have OCD tendencies specifically, is to look at it in a way on a spectrum, and to consider, am I really prone to sickness? Is there really that much danger? Or is it more that I am a person who is concerned about danger, who is concerned about illness and becoming ill? And that might be a little bit hard to distinguish sometimes. And so you can be just anywhere, within that spectrum. But let me give you another example that is outside of health anxiety, but also can oftentimes come into OCD tendencies. So let's see, another person that I worked with, she was very concerned. She was very anxious, having panic attacks about losing control of her car and crashing into people. And so what helped her was to examine, was it that she was a person who was highly likely to lose control and run over people, because she was a very conscientious woman, very careful, skilled at driving? Or was she more a woman who was afraid that that was going to happen? So what this can do for you, the closer you are to realizing this, then the closer you will be able to, or the more able you will be to put this in perspective and to see that this is just something that is arising within you out of a response as to what is going on in your life, that it's not something about you, that you are crazy, that you are weird, that you are always going to be this way. And it also pulls you out of totally believing that you are definitely going to get ill, or that you are definitely under attack from viruses, from germs, that there's no escape for you. But instead, you can see it as, no, it's not so much that I am in danger, but it's more that I am a person who focuses on danger. I am a person who hyper focuses on germs, on illnesses. So that is the second tip for you. My third tip for taking control of health anxiety is going to sound kind of weird, but I'm going to call it parent the anxiety. And here's what I mean by this. I'm going to give you an example of, if you think about, you've probably seen plenty of these on Facebook, on YouTube, these funny videos of parents waking up. They're all groggy and they're just opening their eyes, and they look and they just see a mess. And maybe they see a trail of lipstick, perhaps, and or paint, and on their carpet, and they see these clues of, oh no, something really serious and bad is going on here. They get up, they walk out of the bedroom. Here comes the dog walking by. The dog has lipstick all over it. Yes, there are some more clues that their toddler has definitely gotten into some trouble here, that something is going on. And so the parent walks down the stairs, and along the way there's lipstick along the banister and maybe smeared on the wall. And so then they go down and they walk into the little bathroom, perhaps, that's off from the kitchen. And there's their toddler sitting there with this cute little smile on their face and lipstick all over them, all over their face and all over the clothes and all over the floor and the cabinets and the walls. And you can see all of the destruction that has occurred and the mess that is there, the cleanups that is going to be needed to be done. Okay. So in parenting the anxiety, you are going to do something similar to what this parent had to do in this very typical video that we've seen so many times in different scenarios. When this anxiety is beginning to arise, look at the clues of what is going on. Oh, there you are. There is fear arising right now. There is stress. I'm feeling stress. I'm feeling fear. I'm feeling this tightening in my chest right now. Another clue, right? I'm feeling this tightening in my chest right now. My whole body is tense. And I am caught up in my head. Oh, look, more clues. My thoughts, there are thoughts of, oh my goodness, this could be cancer. Oh, this could be COVID-19. Oh, I am going to be so ill and I'm not going to be able to take care of my family. And oh, my children are going to be so sad. And then what's going to happen with my work, and on and on. Okay, so you're noticing this. You're becoming this parent who is looking at this toddler, which is actually the emotional part of your brain. I'm not referring to it as a toddler like you're immature or stupid, but that it kind of has taken control. When a toddler takes control of a household, that is not good. Okay, toddlers are good, but when they have control, they're not good. The emotional part of your brain and your emotions, they are good. But when they take over, when they have control over you and they are convincing you that devastation is going to occur, that you are not going to survive, that's not good. So you want to become the parent. You want to be able to take charge. And you do that by standing outside of your emotions, being that parent who's looking at the clues like, what is this toddler doing? So you're looking at, what is this anxiety doing? Look how it's got a hold of my body. Look how it's given me these thoughts. Look what it's causing me to do. It's causing me to wash my hands. It's causing me to stay home from work. It's causing me to be irritable. It's causing me to cry. It's causing me to shut down and to become depressed. So when you do that, that is changing the pattern that the emotional part of your brain is used to going in this pattern and convincing you that it's telling you the truth. But instead, you are functioning from this parent place that's in the cognitive part of your brain and taking charge. Now, is that going to be easy to do? It's not. It is not going to be easy. Just like with panic attacks, this is very similar to panic attacks. It's not easy to stop a panic attack in the middle of the panic attack. So what I recommend is that you examine this ahead of time, that you figure out what this pattern typically looks like, what all the clues are that the emotional toddler is, part of your brain, that toddler is out of control. What is the typical pattern of what happens for you? And so then when it begins to happen, then you can notice, there it is. Look at the clues. Look what's happening. Yes, the emotion is beginning to take control. Right now, take control of the household. And I need to look at the clues and understand what is happening. Then notice what happens when you can be in that place of noticing that, of realizing it's the anxiety that is taking over. It's the emotional part of your brain that's causing this pattern to kick in. Notice if it decreases the intensity of the fear that you are feeling. Notice if perhaps you are able to withdraw from washing your hands, or you are able possibly to take some deep breaths instead of holding your breath and being caught up in the anxiety. Notice if possibly you are able to shift your thinking onto something else at that moment and to become productive with your day instead of being stuck there. Health anxiety, very much like panic attacks, very much like OCD, doesn't kick in from out of nowhere. It's not who you are. And it's not for no reason. Did that make sense? Did I say that right? It's for a reason. That would be better. So first take a look at, when did it start? What was going on? Most likely it started at a time in your life, either recently or years ago, when things felt out of control. Either because there was a trauma of something happening that was very fear-inducing, that was really scary for you, or that you had somebody was making decisions over your life where you felt powerless, Or maybe a lot is going on that is also just intense. It's anxiety producing because you don't know how it's going to turn out, very overwhelming. So be on the lookout for those things going on that are triggering the health anxiety to kick in. And then second, consider this spectrum of, is it so much that you are in danger and that you are certain to become ill or catch this virus? Or is it more that you are a person who worries about sicknesses and catching viruses? Then the third thing is to take control over the emotional part of your brain, which is out of control. It is acting like a toddler who's taken over the household and is just making a complete mess. And so when you become the parent over the emotional part of your brain, you're going to notice what is happening. You're going to notice, oh, look at the emotions that are going on. Look how they're impacting my body. Look what they're causing me to do. Look what this emotion is causing me to think and to believe. And then you can begin making some shifts in that. You can begin with changing your posture. You can begin changing what it's doing with your breathing. If it's causing you to hold your breath, you can take some deep breaths. You can notice if it causes you to change your behaviors, to be able to move forward, to have a productive day, to be able to refrain from any repetitive actions that you normally do. Now, what this will do over time is it will decrease the intensity of the anxiety that you feel, the health anxiety that may come again at another time, but then you just start this over again. You can't expect that it's never going to come back. If you are prone toward anxiety, period, then you're going to be more susceptible to health anxiety. If you've had health anxiety in the past, then you will be more susceptible to having health anxiety again. There's nothing wrong with that. You just have to learn how to deal with it. And every time you overcome it, which you can, then that will kind of prime you for next time to more easily be able to overcome it again, to decrease the intensity of it, and to overcome it more quickly. All right, I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, if you've tried any of these, let me know. And also, I did mention that I have a free resource for you, and that is my guide for overcoming fear and anxiety. And I will leave a link to that below. It has a little bit of an email series that comes with it, but it's also a PDF that is going to guide you for a period of 4 weeks and learning how to notice how the emotional part of your brain has taken control and being able to empower you to get control over it. Thanks for joining me today. Bye.